Hi, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. Hi guys, we're back for part 2. If you have not seen part 1 of Films That Changed Me, please go check that out in the link down below. It will make a little bit more sense. This was highly requested after I did the part 1, so I'm really excited to talk about these and open up, get a little bit vulnerable with you guys today. And just like last time, I asked you on Instagram what movies changed you, and I'll be reading them out a little bit later. But first, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Surfshark. I always get questions how I access so much content from around the world, and the answer is Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. Surfshark encrypts all of your data while also unlocking geo-blocked content. And it is so easy to use. So say, for example, you wanted to unblock a movie on Germany's Netflix that's only available in Germany, you just flick a switch and you're there. In fact, I have been using Surfshark out of my own pocket for the last 12 months and I absolutely love it. I think it's the most user-friendly VPN I've ever tried. So if you want to unlock geo-block content right now, just use my code word SPOOKY with the link down below. You'll get 85% off and 3 months free. Thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Now onto the dark stuff, guys. I'm about to get very vulnerable. I don't think I'm ready, but we're gonna do it anyway. In part 1, I teased a movie, so we're gonna start off with that one. And it is Mardas. I know I'm not wrong in saying that this film brings out strong feelings in people, and if you haven't seen it, you are truly missing out on one of the most intense psychological and gory experiences. Directed by Pascal Laugier, Mardas is a 2008 French-Canadian extreme horror film. The film had a controversial release with many critics shunning the film for its gore and brutality. But for the rest of us, Mardas was so much more. Because at its core, Mardas is a film about trauma and the lengths people will go to for their own beliefs. Spooky astronauts trying not to spoil a film for 10 minutes straight. Simply put, the film follows Lucy's journey to find the people who abused her as a child. Lucy and her friend Anna set out for cold revenge, but in doing so, get twisted into the reasons the abuse began. The film keeps you awake because of the brutality. The crawling on the bathroom floor scene, my God, that has never left me. It's kind of like The Ring, you know, the closet opening. It's the same thing. It's definitely a that scene moment, for me anyway. But the film sticks with you forever because of the frightening lengths people go to. Although visually the film sticks in your head because of the torture and extreme gore, it's the meaning behind it all that gives you chills. It lifted the bar of what I think is an extreme and epic horror movie, and I don't think anything has quite touched it since. Maybe Hereditary. But Mardas will always stick with me and is one of the most disturbing, brutal, and meaningful horror films I've ever seen. Okay, let's slow down the pace completely and let's talk about the next film that really impacted me and changed me, and that is Dolores Claiborne. A Stephen King book turned epic drama mystery directed by Taylor Hackford. The film stars Kathy Bates as Dolores and her daughter is played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. The film is about Lee's character Selena, who is a reporter and travels back to the small town where her mother is being accused of murdering a woman. The film means so much to me because of the clever way it changes the audience perception. One of my personal favorite things about relationships and communication, getting to know people, is understanding everyone's point of view. I don't see the world as so black and white. I like to see the gray in things, and I like to understand someone else's situation. The best thing about movies is you're walking in someone else's shoes, which you will never live. We only live once. But I love when my perception on someone or something is completely changed by having background knowledge. I think it's so powerful, and it's such a good and important message that you really don't know anyone or know their struggles until you see the full picture. This is probably making no sense unless you've seen the film, but the film has such a great message. It's very powerful, and it really did turn my world upside down, and I think it's one of the best examples of never judging a book by its cover. And for that, I'll always remember it. Gives me goosebumps. This movie is just amazing. And of course, Kathy Bates, every time. While we're down in this emotionally vulnerable pit, let's talk about the next film, Room. I read the book Room, and I never thought in 1,000 years they would ever be able to create something that was the same feeling and experience you had while reading this book. It is really powerful stuff. The story and ultimately the movie affected me so much because it shows the evil in the world and how helpless we are to it and the things that happen to us and how we just have to move through it. Directed by Lenny Abrahamson and starring Brie Larson and Jacob Tremblay, the film is about a woman and her son who were held captive for 7 years. The book and the film, I feel like, focus on different aspects, but the portrayal of the characters in the film are just chilling. How can evil like this exist in the world? But in fact, it did, and it does. The book was inspired by a real case of a woman who was held captive for 24 years. As I said before, movies are so important because they share stories that people cannot see within their lifetimes, and in this case, things you can't unsee. It's something that makes it hard to sleep at night knowing that this can be some people's reality, and it is. And for that reason, this movie changed me. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is extremely hard to mention without bringing up its backstory. The Evil Within is a strange, independent film that feels like a soapy Lifetime movie that's crossed all of the lines. The film has a really dark past, and in short, the film took 15 years to make and was a passion project of Andrew Getty. Getty self-funded the film, which cost an estimated $4 to $6 million. Unfortunately, Getty passed away tragically before the film was ever finished. The film follows a lonely man who develops a disturbing relationship with an antique mirror. The film is truly an example of how a movie can hold something haunting. Even with the budget of the film, it is strangely put together and feels like a mess at parts. Bad acting and questionable decisions, but somehow through it all, the film just feels like dread, like pure, heavy dread. It holds this vibe that is hard to explain and hard to escape, and I feel like I've been haunted by this film. I truly feel like that. And I know a lot of you out there have had the same experience as I have. I've seen you've commented on my review of it, and you said that you felt the same thing. It's a very strange film. It's not a great film on paper, but I don't know how they made it so haunting. And I did feel this way before I even knew the backstory, but I truly think that this film is haunted. It is a film that will truly always stay with me. I told you guys this was gonna be heavy, this was gonna be vulnerable. I'm sorry, it's so emotional, but I actually saved the most emotional to last, and this is Geralds Game. I was obsessed with this book as a teenager. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read. I was so consumed in it. I love the story. I am going to spoil the film, so if you have not seen it, please turn it off. That's why I saved this one to last. But I have to kind of explain why it affects me so much, and that gives away a big reveal in the film. Just like Room, when I heard they were adapting this to film, I couldn't imagine anything being as good as the reading experience. The story is about a woman who gets handcuffed to a bed and must face demons she has been running from her whole life. But in doing so, she loses her sanity and is unable to tell the difference between her past trauma and the intruder that's in the room. It's a story about facing the darkest parts of your mind, the parts you've repressed. The film is completely stunning, and I could not believe how well adapted it was. Mike Flanagan did an amazing job, and Carla Gugino as Jessie, wow. As a book, it made me so emotional and made me reflect on the things I have repressed in my life. But as a movie, it gave me something else. It gave me power, satisfaction. That moment in the movie when she walks up to the Moonlight Man, so powerful. She walks up to him in court and she faces her real life traumatic experience straight head on and takes her power back. I can't, like, it's so emotional, and I feel like so many people can relate to that in one way or another, taking the power back from being a victim. Oh man, that scene just gives me goosebumps. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. I'm sure a lot of you have been, unfortunately, in the same situation, and watching that in a movie was so powerful and just changes the whole film, because not only are you getting this powerful story of obviously her and the whole psychological mind game of her being alone in this room, in this bed, you know, the physical torment of her trying to get out, you know, the handcuff situation, her reliving her trauma, but you also get this amazing payoff of her going up to her abuser and telling him how small he is. And I just absolutely love it. I just think it's one of the most powerful scenes in a horror movie, and for that to be a recent horror movie, I think is really cool. So I'm a huge fan of that film, and for that reason, it changed me, and again, changed how I thought horror movies can express meaning. I knew it was there and I knew they could, but it was just such an amazing feeling watching that film. Now I've done completely blabbing and opening up. Hopefully you guys have been as vulnerable with me, and I'm gonna check out what you guys said on Instagram. This first one I absolutely love. Lost in translation, it helped me understand that loneliness is only temporary, which I think is really powerful. I didn't like this film when I first saw it. I was in film school. I thought it was like over the top because they were talking about the colors and what the color theory of it was. But watching it back now, I love this film. I think it's great. I think it's just one of those things when something's forced on you to watch, you don't like it as much as when you rediscover it by yourself. I love this next one from Vanessa that says, "Some like it hot. It was a gateway to classic film and showed me black and white films weren't boring." I love that feeling, and it's really cool to hear what kind of films like flick that switch for people, like that kind of gateway that she's talking about. I really like that. I'm just scrolling through now, and a lot of you guys are saying Donnie Darko, which I do agree. That really, I guess, played into my angst as a teenager, but watching it now, I only watched it a couple months ago after not watching it for like 8 years. It all clicked. Like, it clicked before. I felt like I had to have it explained to me a little bit more beforehand. But rewatching that, you know, years later, it all makes so much more sense, and it's such a good film. You don't need me to tell you that. Oh my God, Animated Human says Matilda. Not a horror, lol, but I remember wanting to adopt because of it and to be a good person. That's so nice. I love Matilda because it's such a passion project. Obviously, Danny DeVito, he directed it, he narrated it, and he starred in it, and it is like A+. Like, that is a 5-star movie to me. I think every aspect of that film is amazing. I don't really think of it as like a story of like good and evil or like being a good person. I think of it more of a story of Matilda and being different. And I don't know, like I always say, a lot of us on the internet who make these kind of videos weren't exactly cool in high school, and I feel like that movie is something that makes people feel special who may feel left out, and I think it's a really important movie. This is a funny one. Puka says Midsummer. I don't know if it's meant to be funny, sorry. It's been a while since I've used hard drugs, but now I never want to touch them again. I don't know if that is the meaning behind Midsummer. It's more of a breakup movie, and Ari Aster said that himself. A lot of people gave me crap because I said it's about a breakup, but that's what it's about. But I think that's like fun that you said that. I don't think that Midsummer was meant to be a PSA, but maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I think that's a funny response though. And the last one I want to end on is Lion King influenced so much of my life. The past can hurt, but you can learn from it. Great quote. I think that's Rafiki, right? I think that's so beautiful. I never really think of it like that, but I think that's really beautiful. And I think that that is an awesome way of looking at a movie that really traumatized people because of Scar, like the whole Mufasa sitch. I feel like the typical response would be Lion King scarred me because of Mufasa and Scar, their relationship, but I love that you got that out of it. And I think it could be a really comforting movie to people who have lost someone, so I really like that. I'm done being an emotional wreck today. Thank you so much to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate your support. If you guys haven't subscribed, please do. I do 2 videos every single week talking about movies, usually horror and thriller, and I would love if you could jump on board. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll talk to you very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.